That green uniform is what our knights will be wearing this year. To be honest, I had my doubts about the color. But oddly enough, seeing you wear this uniform, I can't imagine a more fitting color for you. It's as though you were born to wear it. Take care on your journey, and be sure to stop by some of the shops at the bazaar here in town to equip yourself properly for the travels ahead. I will return to my quarters and see if I can glean more useful information from the ancient texts. You are always welcome to stop by if you have questions. You and Zelda shall be in my prayers. May the goddess watch over and guide you both. And with that, we're left to explore Skyloft on our own before we leave. Oh, you didn't restock my dresser with the rupees and the knight. Oh no, what am I going to do without the money? Well, that's fine. I'm sure we have enough to do what we need to do. Well, all the knights look like this, right? I'm just the only one with the green uniform. Yep, he told you right. You have something for me? Oh, Fledge, that's so nice of you. The adventure pouch. This is what we use to carry accessories throughout the game. The unfortunate thing is, unlike all of the other Zelda games to date, this isn't like an inventory that you can fit everything you ever collect. Like bottles, expansions, even sometimes hearts, you will only be able to put in as many as you have slots. So it's not much of an issue starting off, because you don't have too many things to start out with, but as you get towards the end of the game, it feels like you don't really get to experience all of the upgrades that you could potentially have, and it's disappointing. It adds a layer of depth in that you have to consciously decide what you need on your adventure and what you don't, but at the same time, it feels like you're denied certain upgrades because you only have enough room for so many. Yeah, a shield would be super helpful, actually. Speaking of... Now, there are 3 kinds of shields. And in this game, shields, in addition to being prone to breaking by fire if you have a wooden shield like we just received, it can also break based on... I forget, it's the button, I always get them confused. You can activate it by shaking the nunchuck. That brings up your shield, that's how you defend yourself, but if you just have it being held up, then it's going to take some damage. And you can see the meter at the top left-hand corner underneath the hearts. If that runs out, your shield is broken, you do not get it back. So Fi's going to tell us pretty much everything at every point in the game to make sure that we know exactly what we're doing. And this is one of the biggest reasons that people dislike this game, I think, just how much hand-holding that Fi does. But in her defense, it is pretty much the reason she exists, so I can't hate on her too much for it. We can also finally change the interface to get rid of the control scheme around the outside, so we can actually look at the entire world around us, which is nice. And I'm not going to be going around this place exploring every single room. I'll just go to the important places, get the stuff that we need, and then we'll prepare to head off. But in Here's the Bazaar, this is where we will spend most of our time when we come back between adventures. Calamitous visions, you say? I do believe you. I've seen visions of my own. Well, if you say so. I can't imagine how much money it's going to cost for you to see into my future, though. On the off chance that I need all 130 rupees, I will not. But if I have spare money, I will come back to talk to you. Maybe next time. Yeah, she's a lot like the fortune teller in Twilight Princess. We'll see him again, don't worry. But I don't know if he'll do anything useful for us. We have over here, this is a dude that will help us upgrade our equipment if we have the necessary small treasures for it. We don't, so I'll leave him alone. He can also repair your shield if it's damaged. Over here is the lady that will check your items for you, so if you can't fit anything in your adventure pouch, you can go to her, withdraw it, deposit, whatever you feel like. This guy over here is selling stuff, bombs, arrows, seeds that we can't use, and a shield in case the one we have is broken. But over here is the only lady I'm really interested in. So you can guess by the colored liquids on the counter here that this is the potion shop. Unfortunately, we can't use a potion without a bottle to put it in, so we kind of need a bottle before we can do anything. Thankfully, she'll give us one for free. So I believe there are 5 empty bottles in this game, but like I said, since they go into your adventure pouch and you only have so many slots for them, I tend to only carry around maybe 2 or 3 tops. And if you want to equip it so you can buy something, or we don't need to equip it to buy it, but you can access it in the accessory menu, or whatever they call that menu. Now you can get... This is a shield restoration potion. I think it also restores 4 hearts, but we'll be getting another one for free later. So I think I'll just take the health potion here. I mean, there's potions for other stuff around here too. But I think those are the only 2 we have access to because the other ones are all bubbling. We will get access to them later when they're more useful. And her husband over here can... Well, I mean, I'll let him explain it. You can catch some bugs later on in the game, and this guy will allow you to power up your potions with those bugs. Unfortunately, we don't have any, so we can't really do much with them. And I feel like that's pretty much all we need to do before we get going. I guess we could talk to a couple of people before we leave. You can sit down in this game, you can talk to people if they're sitting across the table from you or sitting next to you on a bench. And sitting down actually restores your health as well. That's not as prevalent in the normal game like this, but when you beat the game, you have the option of starting a hero mode file, which is significantly more difficult, and the enemies don't drop any hearts. So the only way you have to restore your health in hero mode is really just being able to sit down, at least naturally. So this becomes a lot more useful in hero mode, but since we're playing on normal, it doesn't make much of a difference. You can just talk to them instead of sitting down, but it just feels more personable to sit down, you know? And yes, pressing the 2 button gives you pointers for where you are, what to do, that sort of thing. And you can always call Fi at any time if you feel she helps, but again, since I know where we're going, and well, let's be honest, we don't want to hear her more than we have to, and she'll be telling us a lot of stuff as we go. So it's going to be pretty difficult to get lost. But at the same time, not everybody knows Zelda's missing, do they? I forgot what I was saying. At this point, I just like to go around the area and just open up as many doors as possible. As you can see when we open up the map, if you've already been to a location, it'll have a marker on it to tell you what it is or who lives there. So for instance, we've already been to the bazaar. We haven't been there, so we don't know what it is. We have the main locations, but none of the houses in this area are marked. If we go into a house, it will always be marked with the name of the people who live there, and it's incredibly useful for side quests and stuff later. And of course, if you get to find people in here, then so much the better. But I'm not going to be opening up cupboards anymore because that message is going to come up like 99 times out of 100, so it's really not worth it. And as you can see, if we go back, it has the name of the people that live there. So it's useful to go around checking out all these places. Up there, you have a flying ship that we can only signal if we can ring that bell. We can't ring that bell yet, so we can't do anything about that ship, but we will be going back to it in due time. Yeah, the kid knows what's up. Bugnet would be really useful for me too, but unfortunately, we don't have anything to launch at it, so there's not much we can do there. And that was this another kind of statue tower-looking thing that was right next to where we started the wing ceremony. I wonder what's going on here. The light tower, huh? Yeah, what are you doing here? Afraid of heights, says the guy who lives above the clouds. I mean, granted, it's not by his own design that he lives up here. He doesn't really have a control over where he's born and the fact that he can't leave. But it's kind of silly. I'm sure that won't be useful later. And of course down there you can see the piercing ray of light that's over there. Now there will be a couple of other areas for us to go to. I'm sure you figured that out based on the slabs. And you may have noticed flying around there were a couple of circles in the clouds like that. That's why I never really looked around to see if you could spot those circles. Just looking off. I mean, I think you can see the one over there. That's going to be another one later. Or it may be further to the right, I don't remember. But it's interesting that you can still see these things from way early on if you look for them. And the same is true if you just walk around Skyloft and explore everything that there is to see. I also never brought attention to these. These are save statues, or bird statues. You can save and quit at any time as long as you're near these things. And they'll be more useful later on as well. I think you'll notice a lot of people tend to be out and about during the day. You won't see many of them are in their houses all day and all night. And if I step out and go right back to the door, I can tell you exactly where they're doing. Like you see, Item Check Girl's house. We saw the Item Check Girl at the Item Check, so she's not going to be in our house. Kinda makes sense. I'm just going to be cutting out any houses that are completely empty. Can also move this box into place to make it easier to get up this way the next time we go through here. So we weren't able to climb it if we just ran up the wall normally, but we can climb up the box and get there too. So I like to just take care of all that stuff as soon as I can, because it makes it easier to get around. We've already been over there. I think there's a house over to the left. So I guess you can consider this the quick tour of Skyloft. See all the characters, see where everybody lives, where everything is. Because we will need to be pretty familiar with this area as the game goes on. And as you can guess, you can run into some of these trees and they will give you items and stuff from time to time. Not so much up here, but there will be more stuff later. It's also interesting to think that how many of their characters went through similar things to us, had the same academy, but I think they said the academy is only 25 years old, so you have to wonder how many went through the same training we did. Oh, you must be Pipit's mom. You live in a freaking dump. How do you stand it? That's disgusting. I hope we don't have to come back to clean it up for you later. Because that would be super tedious and I really don't want to do it. And I forget if this is actually a house or you have to go further up. Over here is a graveyard. I'm sure this has absolutely no significance whatsoever. I'm going to be saying that a lot about just about every area in here. But one of the things about the art style in this game, it's not so much a blurring effect that you see in the background. Because I am uploading this in 1080p, you can notice that it's not just the fact that they blur it, but they blur it in such a way that they look like some sort of painting. Like little dabs of color here and there, rather than just a straight blurring of everything together. The artistic effect is really interesting. Like, there are other ways games do to reduce lag of, loading visuals of areas that are further away from you. But I think this one's one of the most artistically pleasing. It's grown on me. I didn't really appreciate it when I first played the game, but it's become more and more apparent to me as I play it through time and time again. Nobody's in here either. Oh, you're here. Don't see much of you. Do you talk? Oh my god, your face. I hope those are glasses. That does sound tough. I'm sure that scrap heap won't be of any use to us later on in the game either. So much stuff I'm telling you guys not to pay attention to so it's not spoiled. And you actually have to look a bit down below her head to realize that that's actually a woman. Surprised me too, I know. Also, as long as we're in the pumpkin patch, you can pick things up, and you have 3 options with them. You can throw them if you have the remote held up. You can just set it down if you have the remote pointed towards the screen, or some things you can actually roll. Seems kind of silly, but it'll be useful later. I think there's one more house down here that's remotely useful to us. Not now, because he's not here, but it'll be useful to us later. And now that we've visited all these places, you can see all of them are marked on our map, or at least they should be. Like Pipit's house, Gondo's house, Sparrow's house. They're all labeled on our map now, so if we ever need to go to a certain person's place, we know exactly where they are. But that's pretty much all there is to Skyloft, at least for now. There may be 1 or 2 other things that we can do, but I think at this point we're safe to just head down. Now, you can't just jump off any random location. Like, if I wanted to, say, go to that place right now, jump off, you cannot call your loft wing. It's a little bit silly that they do that, and there's no, like, health penalty for jumping off when nobody is there, because you'll just be swept back up by this guy. He'll rescue you however many times you jump off like an idiot, no matter how much he says otherwise. But you have to jump off one of these. And with that, our adventure is underway. We can go straight to the Column of Light right now. There really isn't that much else we can do to prepare, so I figure we'll just go straight there. And yep, we have a map of the entire sky as well. You remember how big the ocean was in Wind Waker? I think they just decided to hell with it. We don't want you flying around all over the place, so we're only going to give you access to a certain area, and that's that. I mean, we could go there right now if we really wanted to. I'll probably go there on the way back up. Let's just head straight down to the surface. It was built up so much already. You might as well just go there. No need to waste anybody's time.